I am Stephanie Miller, the Communications Coordinator with Maricopa County Department of Emergency Management. With me is Rob Rowley. He is the Director of the department. And we're just going to make sure we can see this.
Yes, we are up.
Found it? Okay, good. So we've been having a weekly discussion throughout the month of July on different ways that you can receive alerts and emergency messaging from us. So we started off with wireless emergency alerts, moved to the emergency alert system. Then we talked about the community emergency notification system. And then last week we talked about our Ready Maricopa mobile app. So today our subject is social media. And so we are on several different social media platforms. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about those and how you would get information from us.
So I remember all the way back when there was only one social media platform, and no, it wasn't Facebook, it was MySpace, to take things really far back. But flash forward from then till now, and we have multiple different social media platforms, and they are all good for different things, and we use them all in a different way. And moving forward in the discussion today, we'd just like to reiterate up front that social media isn't really a public alert and warning tool like any of the other options that we talked about was, and it is much more of a how do we get you additional information and ongoing information during an event, and they're all good for different things. So with that, we'll let you get into them.
Okay, so Facebook is a little bit easier for us to get you more information because there's no character limit there. We can share photos with you. We can post in both English and Spanish on the same platform. So we are on Facebook, and you can look up Maricopa County Emergency Management on Facebook and find us there.
Obviously, we're on Facebook right now, if you're watching this video.
Yes. If you're watching this video from YouTube, we're on Facebook.
And we've got the feed going up right now, so anytime during this little talk we're having here, if you have a question, go ahead and type it in the comments, and we'll be happy to get to it when we get toward the end, or if we have a free moment during.
Right. And right now is an example of what we could do to get you emergency information, and that's to go live. So if we had something that needed to get across to you and we wanted to be able to talk to you real time, we could go live on Facebook and do that. So Twitter is like a micro-blogging platform. Twitter is limited to 280 characters in one post. So that limits us on what we can say, but there are ways to get around that. We can thread a few posts together to get you all the information. You can find us on Twitter by looking up at Maricopa Emerge, and that is Maricopa EMERG. And you can find our Twitter account, our Spanish Twitter account at Listos Maricopa. So LISTOS Maricopa. And then moving on, we have an Instagram account. So again, you can also look up at Maricopa Emerge and find us on Instagram. Instagram is a way to tell stories with pictures. So we have to have a picture and image in there if we want to send out any kind of information to you via that platform. We also have a YouTube page. So you can go to YouTube and look up Maricopa County EM, and you will find our YouTube channel. And there's not very many subscribers on there right now because I don't think very many people know we actually have a YouTube. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, welcome. There are a lot of videos on there that cover a lot of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, like drills and training and exercises, and so you can find out a lot more about who we are and what we do by watching some of those videos on YouTube.
Some good videos from inside the Cold War era bunker that is our current office that's underground, and as Stephanie said, some good videos of our training exercises that we've done, and some shots from inside, even some shots and video from inside our Emergency Operations Center.
Right. And we can actually go live on YouTube as well, and we can go live on Instagram if we wanted to. So if we want to send you out, just like Facebook Live, we want to send you out information as it comes out. We want to give it to you real time. Then we can go live on those platforms as well. And then the final platform that we're on, which is a little bit different than all the rest of the platforms, is Nextdoor. And that we signed up as an agency on Nextdoor. So anyone who is on Nextdoor or has a Nextdoor account has access to our information. It's not the same as the other platforms where you actually have to follow us. You are basically already in there. If you join on Nextdoor, you can see us. Nextdoor it was started to be a neighbor-to-neighbor kind of platform. So neighborhoods are usually about 2,000 people or less. So you can speak to people in your immediate neighborhood and connect with your neighborhood, which is one of the things that we would encourage you to do, because we want you to connect with your neighbors. In the event that there's an emergency, they may be helping you or you may be helping them. So we encourage those conversations within your neighborhoods.
When you sign up for Nextdoor, you actually have to attach yourself to the neighborhood you live in. There's actually a verification process that makes sure that you actually do live in the neighborhood you're signing up for. And
Yes.
then you can have surrounding neighborhoods as well. You can kind of make it as large or small as you want, but you have to be associated with the neighborhood you're living.
Mm-hmm. So Nextdoor for us has the biggest reach of any of these social media platforms. We can reach over 1 million people right now on Nextdoor because there's that many people signed up on it.
And because we've signed up as an agency, we have the ability to message on an emergency basis everyone who's signed up for Nextdoor and who has not muted or blocked us and our content. So that means you don't have to, once you sign up for Nextdoor, we can get information to you on it. Whereas on all of the other platforms we talked about, you actually have to find us and like us or follow us.
So we can reach all of the county that is on Nextdoor, but we can't see like into your individual neighborhoods. So we can't see any conversations there. I am signed up on Nextdoor personally, so I can see conversations in my own neighborhood and in surrounding neighborhoods. But as an agency, we cannot see down into your neighborhood and what's going on. We can just post the information and you'll see it from us. We can, however, send push notifications through Nextdoor, and that's where they'll show up automatically on your phone as long as you have it enabled. So when you sign up for Nextdoor, it should automatically be enabled, but you can disable that, which we don't encourage because we would like to give you emergency messaging. But we can send out emergency alerts. And that is like on the personal level, you can send out urgent alerts to your neighboring, your neighborhood and neighborhoods around that. So a lot of times you'll see an urgent alert from somebody who lost a dog. That's an example of something we can send out, but they're called emergency alerts when it comes to an agency. So we have the opportunity to do that, and that makes Nextdoor a really great platform for us in the world of social media.
It's practically a public alert and warning tool that we can use, where we can hit the entire county or down to just individual neighborhoods. So it's a pretty powerful one for us. It's for what we do, for getting out urgent information. It's probably one of our best platforms for it. Biggest reach and the most flexibility.
Yes. So, you do have to sign up for all these platforms. You can see on some of them, you can see some of what we've posted because we are public. Our platforms are all public, so if you go to Facebook but you don't have a Facebook account, you can see some of the posts, but then Facebook is going to urge you to sign up for Facebook, and I believe Twitter and Instagram also do that. So in order to get all the information, really, you have to sign up. Nextdoor, I'm not really sure if I think if you go to Nextdoor, they're going to make you sign up. So
Right, because you have to associate yourself with your neighborhood.
So pros of this, of course, we can reach a broad amount of the, what am I trying to say? The county, the population. With Nextdoor, we can get out the message to over 1 million people. With the other platforms, we don't have as many followers, but when people reshare content, that's how it spreads. And we've got a range of demographics of people that we can reach across all these platforms too. So they're all different in who we can reach and how we can reach them and what we can do with them, which is why we're kind of saturated in the social media world. We want to make sure we can reach as many people as possible.
Everybody has their favorite and the one they use the most.
Mm-hmm.
If you're somebody who's into Facebook, or you like the shorter messages on Twitter, or you like to keep things local to your neighborhood and you're on Nextdoor, or if you just like watching videos and you're on YouTube, and if you're really more into pictures, you're using Instagram. Everybody has their favorite, and so as a result, we have to try to hit all of the major social media platforms to try to reach as many people as possible.
We use these platforms a lot on a daily basis just to share emergency information with you, share more information on who we are and what we do. But when it comes to an actual emergency, we're going to go to Twitter and Facebook and Nextdoor. Not so much Instagram, only because we need a picture, and so if there's some emergency information we need to get out right now, we don't want to have to go searching for a picture to show you. With that though, and we can move into the cons now, is that some of these platforms, you're not going to get the information real time because you're going to have to search for it, because we have to battle with the algorithm on how these platforms work and how they display posts. So with Facebook, we could post something and you might not see it unless you're actively looking for it. You might not see it for a couple hours because you're just scrolling. Now, to help that, the more you engage with us on these platforms, the more you like things and comment on things, then Facebook kind of moves us up in the algorithm to say, oh, you're interacting more. I'll show you more from this platform or this agency. So the more you engage with us, the more you'll see our stuff if you want to. We hope you want to.
You can also go into settings and set it to see certain pages first in your timeline, etc. But still, to a degree, as Stephanie pointed out, we have to battle the algorithm, as Facebook is always going to try to show you what it thinks you want to see and what it wants you to see, because it's also an advertising platform, so it does that as well.
So with Twitter's really good to get that information out now. We need to get it out quick. And if you have Twitter set to have the latest tweets show up instead of the top tweets, you should be able to see it as it comes out, but it also moves very fast. So we could post it and it could be up and gone because it depends on how many people you follow. So if you follow a lot of people who talk a lot, who tweet a lot, the feed is going to be filled up with their things and you might miss ours. So again, you have to go in there and look. With Nextdoor, the great thing is that we can send those push notifications to you so you can see them. right then when we send them out. And they can come through in an email as well as a push notification to you.
Right. If you have the Nextdoor app on your tablet or your phone, or even your computer, it will utilize that push notification to pop up an emergency message from us. Mm-hmm. So that's also a major advantage of that one for us.
Right. And then each platform has their limits or their requirements that you have to meet. Twitter is only 280 characters. Instagram has to have a picture. So, that's all taken into consideration when we have to send you emergency information. And then
there's another major con to all of social media, and any of you watching that use social media know that some of the people you interact with on social media can be a major con. When I think about this, I think about a cartoon that I saw when I was young. It was a Disney cartoon, a short one, and it was about, it was the character Goofy, and he was leaving the house for the day to go to work, and he was nice and kind and friendly and waving to his family and neighbors, and then he gets behind the wheel of the car and he turns into like this fire-breathing monster, just full of anger and yelling and everything. And when I see the way some people comment to posts on social media, it reminds me of that, where somebody who might be a normal, nice person, for some reason, they get on social media and they go a little nuts in the comment section. And that can be problematic for us, not due to us not being able to handle people being mean or putting mean comments on there, but where it can hurt us is if we're trying to get out important information, and then in some of the comments, some people are posting conflicting information or confusing information to confuse our message that we're trying to get out. Or if it takes the entire conversation somewhere completely inappropriate, and then we are losing the battle to try to get the information out to you. So in a lot of cases, unless we specifically are looking for some kind of feedback or interaction, we have to disable comments on a lot of our posts just to make sure that our message doesn't get confused.
Yeah, and that's on Nextdoor. There is a social media policy that the county has, and it is posted on our Facebook page, and I believe in the About section of our Nextdoor. So there is a policy laid out that if certain posts are made, then we have the discretion to remove them or hide them. We haven't had that issue a whole lot though, which is really good. Our followers genuinely like us.
Yes, that's true. And we don't post very much in the way of anything controversial. When we're out there, we're trying to send messages out there to help protect you in an emergency, or put out emergency information, or just do everything we can to keep you informed of what's going on in the world that we work in.
Mm-hmm. So Nextdoor is the one where we would turn off comments for the most part, unless we're actively asking for feedback from you. We're going to turn off the comments. Really, it's mostly because we can reach so many people that the comments will get to the point where they're either not even about the topic anymore, or there's just so many of them I can't keep up with them all. I am a one-man shop
right.
For the most part on social media. So if Nextdoor's comments, we can get hundreds of comments. So that's a lot to review.
And Stephanie tries to be interactive when we do have that, and sometimes it can be very frustrating if you're posting a question or a comment and you're expecting feedback and you don't get it. And as she mentioned, over 1 million people we can reach on Nextdoor, so that can generate a lot of comments, and it can become very difficult to try to monitor that and be interactive and answer questions. And so by disabling them, at the very least, you'll know that that isn't going to be a good way to try to get in touch with us. You'll have to direct message us or give us a call.
Yeah, and you can definitely direct message us. We don't want you to not interact with us. We do want you to, but but we want to make sure that the conversation stays on the topic at hand. So we encourage you to direct message us. I'll answer you. The person that's answering you on social media is me. So, I don't know what else I have to talk about. I feel like I'm missing something.
Well, we've certainly covered everything that we've got, and as we mentioned at the very beginning of these Facebook Live sessions, is the world we live in now. We have many different ways to get public information out, emergency and otherwise. And so it's a lot more complicated than it used to be back in the old days of radio and television was what we had, and now we have radio and television and wireless emergency alerts and social media and our Radio Maricopa app and what am I forgetting? Well, I think I've said it all. But we have to hit all of those, and in different ways, and because of the limitations or the abilities of all these different applications and platforms, our message has to look appropriate for each of them. So a lot of work goes into sending out an emergency alert, and it all has to happen quickly, and it all has to happen accurately. So there's a lot of training that goes into this effort to try to make that happen as quickly and accurately as possible.
And we encourage you also not only to follow us on all our platforms, follow your city or town, follow your local police department, follow your local fire department or district. You're also going to get emergency information from them. And really that information is probably going to be initially generated by them, and we'll be resharing it. So if you want to get the latest and greatest info from the agency, I would follow your first responders, and then you can get all that emergency information from them, instead of other channels. You're hearing it from the agency. So.
Well, now we don't have any questions in our comment section. We just have one comment from Carlos saying hello.
Hello.
And that he speaks both English and Spanish, and he wrote the message in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but Facebook does a pretty good job of translating, and I was just able to hit the translate button and translate what you sent to us. So that's kind of a neat feature, something that certainly did not exist in the days before social media.
Right. So we will be possibly doing these videos all in Spanish as well, so that our Spanish-speaking community can get the same information. But I do want you to know that every platform that we are able to, we will send out information in English and Spanish. The only thing that we can't send it out in both languages is the wireless emergency alerts, because we're limited on characters, and we can't send out two because one will cancel the other one. But the website that wireless emergency alert will send you to will have the information in English and Spanish.
And at some point in the future, we fully anticipate that capability will be there for wireless emergency alerts.
Mm-hmm.
That particular platform is a rapidly emerging technology, so things are getting better all the time with that one. Right. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. That's about almost 25 minutes now, so I think you've heard us talk long enough.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't seen any of the other videos, be sure to check out our videos on YouTube or here on Facebook to see the other platforms that we talked about in the previous 4 weeks. And you can certainly still interact with them. Comments are open for those, so if you have any questions, you can leave them there, or you can direct message us. We'd be happy to answer any questions you got.
All right, thanks everybody.